and welcome to Getting Your Money's Worth, the show that focuses on value. I'm Judith West, and our guest today is Sarah Maria Dreisbach, founder of Break Free Beauty. Okay, Break Free Beauty. All right, it's been a hard day. Okay, Break Free Beauty, what is that?
It is a company dedicated to helping people love and accept themselves and their bodies as they are.
Love and accept their body. You say that we're in a war, but not in a war with foreign policy,
right?
But in a war with our bodies.
That's exactly right. It's, statistics show 90%, 80 to 90% of women dislike their bodies.
I was surprised by some statistics that you had about at what age this starts. I think you had something like 80% of young girls, 11-year-olds or something?
It's 51% of, 10-year-old girls, goes up to 78% of 17-year-old girls, up to 80%, once they hit 18. So it starts very young, 9, 10 years old.
Yeah, and they're already worried about losing weight and whether they should diet or something.
That's exactly right.
Sarah, what caused this?
I think there's a lot of reasons. The media definitely has a role to play in the images that are being projected on magazine covers and, on television screens about how women should look.
Right.
And also, and men too.
Yeah. I mean, these teen magazines, I want to buy something, for a 16-year-old. There's not a magazine that doesn't talk about how to have sex 14 different ways or what to do with your face. I mean, it's out of control.
Yes. And, magazines, teen magazines, girls are reading them very young, 10 years old, and they're reading about diets and how they should fit in a bathing suit.
Okay. So we live in a culture that prizes or celebrates youth and fitness. Mm-hmm. And you're trying to, are you fighting that? Well, is that fair to say?
What I'm trying to do is propose a healthier solution, which is to say nothing's wrong with fitness. I mean, fitness is wonderful. We all, perform better, feel better when we're at the top of our game. But what isn't okay is the obsession for thinness, the obsession for perfection that haunts so many young girls and women, that they feel like their body isn't good enough unless they're a size 2 or O. Exactly. And so it's that prevailing beauty myth that I'm challenging.
Yeah. Well, you got into this really because you had your own story.
Yes.
I think you call your stories a negative body obsession.
Negative body obsession, exactly.
Okay. Tell us and all those and folks listening what that story was.
Sure. When I was always very healthy as a girl growing up. Got to high school and played a lot of sports, very athletic. All of my peers, all the other girls, started talking about dieting. And I decided, wow, I should go on a diet. Wasn't overweight.
You weren't overweight, though.
Not at all. But I thought, there was a girl in my class who actually had lost a lot of weight. She developed anorexia, and I thought, if I can be thin like that, then I'll be more popular. People will like me more. So I started eating 500 calories a day.
500 calories a day?
500 calories a day, and I would get up in the morning and run, and then play sports in the afternoon. Clearly not enough food, and I lost, well over 20 pounds. And was very happy. I was ecstatic that I was, really teeny. And I got a lot of approval from people.
You liked your body, and people liked it too.
Even though I was, very, very thin. And then I stopped. I kind of relaxed my 500 calorie a day diet and found myself eating, constantly because I had been starving myself. And then got very, very scared. Oh my gosh, I'm going to gain weight, and I can't control my appetite. That led to bulimia in college, and really a struggle, a war with my own body. And in talking about it, kind of in coming out with my story, I've found that there are so many people, so many women, and a growing number of men who have the same story and have struggled with exactly the same issues.
You found plenty of peers in that.
That's exactly right.
In that dilemma.
Right. And as part of my own process, I developed a 5-step kind of formula to help people break free from negative body obsession. And so that became my focus. That's why I founded Break Free Beauty, to help, share what I've learned with others.
Well, you were very strong. We're going to go through these 5 points.
Yeah.
But to break free, as you take it, when someone has an eating disorder, Sarah, and that's what you had, what is the desire for approval the problem? I mean, what is the root of that?
It's, it's impossible to say because there are so many different factors, but some, kind of key consistencies you see with people with eating disorders: a desire for approval.
Desire for approval.
But there's also a lot, it is a mental health issue, and they often don't have enough serotonin. They don't have the right balance of neurotransmitters in their brain.
So it could be about. It could be mental. It also could be pathological. It could be something in your body.
Definitely.
Chemistry.
There's
chemistry.
Both. Exactly. There's the psychological component, and there's also a physiological component.
So how were you able? I mean, you look like a young woman at a relatively young age to break out of this on your own.
It took a long time, but I went through psychotherapy to address the psychological component. That was very helpful. And I also developed a strong spiritual practice. I have a daily meditation practice, have been a long-time yoga practitioner, and that really helped me to kind of separate myself from the eating disorder and from the behavior.
You sort of had you established some space between you and the eating.
Exactly.
Okay, let's go to your 5-step program. It starts.
Sure.
What does it start with?
The first one is being willing to change. Yes, and this is really a big issue because so many women, like I said, when they lose weight, they get a lot of approval from other people, and it's hard to say, okay, I'm willing to fight against this, even if it means I gain weight and I don't get as much approval.
Well, isn't there a balance? I mean, some people that I've seen, and I know there is this cliche that you can never be too thin, but some folks that I've seen, especially walking on the streets, when it's been in the magazines about fat models, are pathetically thin, not even attractively thin. So one could well find that balance.
It is all about balance. Obesity is a big issue in this culture. Being too thin, has its own health implications. So really my work, it's, about letting your body find its healthy weight.
Okay. All right. So
step one is being willing to
recognize that you have a problem and be willing to change. And that probably is one of the most difficult steps to first maneuver.
It is. And then the second is to identify and detach from your negative thoughts.
Identify and detach from your negative thoughts. That sounds like a lot of words. What does that simply mean?
What it means, people, we tend to think, oh, look in the mirror, I'm fat, I'm ugly, I'm not thin enough, I'm not beautiful enough. And it's identifying that those are thoughts and that we are not our thoughts. That's a very, very important distinction.
Right.
So that we don't need to listen to those thoughts.
You kind of have to be able to walk past the mirror without always stopping and sucking in your stomach, right?
Exactly, and realizing that we don't have to listen to those negative thoughts about ourselves.
Yeah, okay. So willing to change and disconnect from the negativity.
Exactly, from the negative thoughts. The third is connecting with your, I call it spiritual essence.
Connecting with your spiritual essence.
Which is
the core that runs through you.
Exactly. It's the unprogrammed, the unconditioned essence of who we are that isn't, it isn't our thoughts, it isn't our projections.
And how do you do that, in a word?
That's meditation.
So you're a proponent of this meditation.
Breaking
free, well, you teach that, right?
I teach meditation, although for some people it can be walking in nature.
Right.
But I find
or
meditation.
It could just be stepping away outside and having a cold drink or something.
It's something that allows people to, again, connect with that unconditioned part of themselves.
Right, and get away from it all. Okay.
Exactly.
So that was the third, fourth?
The fourth is to befriend our bodies.
Befriend our bodies.
Important. Yes, and so this is, learning how to take care of our bodies in healthy ways, learning how to appreciate our bodies, be grateful for our bodies, really treat our bodies like our babies.
Yeah. So it's kind of like again, it's getting away from all the negativity.
Exactly.
Right. And finally,
finding your purpose, and this is very important because Often with eating disorders and body image, negative body obsession, the focus is very much on ourselves and on what's wrong with ourselves. And when we turn that attention outward and say, how can I help? How can I, make a difference in the world? What's my purpose? It really helps to shift the focus.
Yes. Along with the same lines that we're talking about, there is a movement afoot, Sarah, that is called fat acceptance. Where people say, okay, I am what I am, and I'm going to accept myself. Is that the flip side of the coin?
Well, I think, I really am a proponent of wherever you're at, accept yourself there. If you are very overweight and you wish you could do more things physically, you want to be healthier, I think you can accept yourself as you are and still focus on living a healthy lifestyle, making healthy choices.
There's kind of an irony right now. I saw in today's paper, actually, that the incidence of obesity in New York City has grown dramatically, especially in the years 2002 to 2004, as a result of the mayor's smoking ban. It's kind of an anomaly. There's so much talk about fitness, and there's so much emphasis on being thin, and yet the obesity rate in this country has exploded.
Right.
How do you explain that juxtaposition?
Yeah, I think on some level it is the flip side of the same coin to say we have a very schizophrenic relationship with our bodies in this culture, that everyone wants to be thin, but then they, are overweight, and that there isn't a peace or a healthy ease there.
Maybe it's all part of the same kind of lifestyle we have, where everything is celebrated, including whatever nonsense gets put on YouTube or something of that order.
Yeah, and it's extreme behavior. It's the extreme dieting that, okay, I need to lose weight to fit into my prom dress, but then the flip side of that is after the prom I'm going to binge eat.
Right.
There's that extreme. And what I really, you can't, if any kind of extreme diet, the flip side of it is an extreme binge.
Right. I think the key word here, and we only have about a minute left, is the extremes, like everything else in life.
Right.
Binge drinking, binge eating. It is the extremes that make that distort the balance.
Right. It's exactly right.
So, break-free beauty.
That's right.
Right. It's a good name. Good luck to you.
Thank you.
And
Thank you so much.
I congratulate you for being able to take yourself in your hands at a young age and conquer this.
Well,
conquer is the right word, isn't it?
That's a wonderful word.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
You're watching Getting Your Money's Worth. I'm Judith West. Thank you for watching.